Oh,
Hi, how's
Patrick.
it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. How about, yeah, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, give me 1 second. All right, never mind. All right, you can still hear me?
Man, you're good.
Okay, sorry. I was gonna try to not have the dogs around, but hear you a little better, but they'll be fine.
Oh, that's all right. What kind of dogs you got?
I've got three. I've got a black lab, a German husky mix, and a poodle.
Nice.
Yeah, they're a
This, man, it's fine. They're hanging out, running around. We've got three dogs here as well. I love those dogs. Uh, well, thank you for doing this today. Appreciate it very much.
Not a problem. Looking forward to it. Just get these other windows down. Yeah, make it bigger. There we go.
Very cool. So Patrick, is it Dizon? Is that how I pronounce your last name?
Dizon.
Dizon. All right. Patrick Dizon, GM at Comida
Yes.
out in Denver, Colorado. So uh, I had talked to Raymond, who owns Comida, and I said, look, we're working on this series. We want to feature people that have made hospitality a career, who love what they do, who are good at what they do, who enjoy sharing their story. And she's like, oh, you got to talk to Patrick. He'd be awesome. So thanks for taking the time to do this today. I appreciate it. And I'll just tell us how you got involved in hospitality in the first place, my friend.
Yeah, so I actually went to school, went to Johnson and Wales, and I was originally a nutrition major, but as with many people in college, they changed their majors.
Yeah.
And it was in my internship during my sophomore year that I kind of just saw like I can do this. My employer at the time wanted me up front instead of the back, and I said, sure, why not? And I kind of just fell into it, greeting customers. It was a bakery counter service, and it felt right to be up there. It just felt right instead of like in the back, or what my original plan was to go into nutrition. So I came back to Denver after my internship in New York City and told my parents, I'm like, we're going to switch to majors. And it was the right thing to do. I got to just be myself, essentially.
What Johnson and Wales campus were you at? Is it
I was at the Denver campus. It's no longer there, but yeah, I was at the Denver campus.
when you went there initially? So you went there to because you wanted to have a nutrition
I
degree?
wanted a nutrition background. So I, in high school, and throughout the younger grades, I always thought, I'm like, all right, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. I want to
Yeah.
be a cop, all of those things. And senior year of high school came around, and I found myself in the kitchen a lot, and I really enjoyed it. And I didn't necessarily want to be a chef. I didn't want to do that. I still very much like the science background of stuff, and I found kind of a middle ground between nutrition and what my hobby at the was or is or was at the time was a career path for myself. So I looked into it, and Johnson and Wales had one of the top 3 programs for it, and it was one right down the street from where I live. So decided to give it a shot and take a tour, and ended up being there for 5 years, getting my master's. So
What did you get your master's in?
I have an MBA.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So now, so you did an internship in New York City. Like,
Yes.
you do that during the school year, or is that a summer internship, or?
I did it during the school year. So Part of what Johnson Wales does is you have to do your internship if you're doing any type of program with them. And mine was during my sophomore year because it was towards the end of my baking and pastry curriculum. And they placed me in New York, which is where I'm originally from. So I stayed with family. My immediate family's here though. And we were there for 11 to 12 weeks. So 11 to 12 weeks, they wanted you to get the real world experience and out of the classroom to make sure that this is something that you actually want to do.
Yeah. Okay.
And it worked. It worked because I found out like I don't want to do nutrition. I wanted to do front of the house, hospitality, meeting customers, all of that. That's what I wanted to do, and I am.
What do you what does hospitality mean to you? Like, what does that word mean?
To me, it just means taking care of others. Yeah. Really. No matter what field you're in, it could be in the medical field, it could be in the restaurant field. It really just means taking care of others, anticipating everyone's needs so that you're 2 steps ahead, which is what I teach my staff right now. Like, just figure out what they're going to need. You know that they're going to need it. And it's going to make their experience a lot more better with us, and to make your job a lot easier if you just stay on top of it or at least 2 steps ahead.
How has that changed in the last year and a half with COVID and all that and all the things that have come along, including like, I'm assuming that y'all are having a hard time finding people to work, at least most people are. And with that comes sometimes short staffed or fewer people on the floor than we would like. And then you've got longer wait times or like, talk about that. What's going on now?
We definitely did experience the staff shortage after the first wave, and when restaurants were allowed to reopen, we thought, all right, everyone's going to be ready to come back and work. And that wasn't the case. Yeah. So it kind of put into my game plan of always cross-training my staff. Like, this is when my cross-training comes into play. So it allowed the front of the house to really step up to help out the back. We have servers, we have bartenders who are able to get on the pantry side or on garnish to help out the back. And it really showed us the team and the family that we truly do have at Comida to help out each other. I have staff that's been with me since I started 5 years ago. And to me and to a lot of my peers, it's really unheard of is you still have servers that you have. I'm like, absolutely, since day one, since I started. And the same with my kitchen staff as well. It's a little unheard of, but it really does show the core of Comida and the family and the teamwork that we do have. With COVID, instead of thinking 2 steps ahead, my staff now thinks 10 steps ahead. It's making sure that others are seeing you really clean and bust a table, and making sure that we are wearing masks properly, and when you are health screening yourself before you clock in, and really just taking all those precautionary steps. It's been really, our community really is supportive of it. When we see Google reviews or Yelp reviews and says Comida is really clean, and we are taking this very seriously when we do have people come in and out. And the front of the house did experience a bit of a staff shortage, but I think now that we're hopefully getting plateaued, we are still looking for maybe 1 or 2 people in the kitchen. But as far as the front, I think that we're ready to go at full capacity, at full speed. And we're still offering what we were offering during the high peaks of the pandemic, was doing food orders to go, family meals, cocktails to go. We haven't stopped any of that. It's now become a part of our regular life, and we welcome it. If you want to come in, you still don't feel comfortable with it, and if you want to sit outside and it's snowing out there, we've got some heaters. Bundle up, but we'll still go out there for you if you feel more comfortable with it.
So you've been with Comida for 5 years?
Yes. Actually, no, it'll be 5 years in March, I believe.
Where were you before that?
I was at a small brick and mortar store called Waffle Up, and I had a staff of 8. I started off as a food truck manager for them, and then when one of the owners was taking a step back and wanted to start her family and her life, I stepped into the restaurant and kind of filled in her shoes while I managed the restaurant itself, which is only a 32-seat restaurant, counter service, and the food truck and all catering services. I was with them for roughly 2.5 to 3 years, and that was while I was completing my master's. Then kind of took about a 6-week break before, actually, no, I'm sorry, a 6-month break, doing something completely beyond my field. And that's when Raymond reached out to me.
Gotcha. What were you doing for that 6 months?
I was working at a pediatric dental office. Not my forte. But yeah, I was doing that.
Well, sometimes doing something like that's what solidifies, that we know what we're really meant to do or what we want to do. So Raymond found you. Mm-hmm. Raymond, I've known for a while. I love Raymond. She's a wonderful person first, and business person. So she's probably always looking for people that, like you, really care about, the customer and caring about providing a meaningful experience. And so when she brought you in, what were you doing when you first started with Comida?
I always like to start somewhere where no one knows who I am, as far as like the position that I've now taken. Yeah. So when I started, a few people knew I was going to be their new GM, the management staff at that time, of course, but I was put through the ringer, and I welcomed it. I was a server. I was a host. I was a food runner. I was a dishwasher. I was in the kitchen, and then I was a bartender. And I really got to connect with the staff at that time and find out who they were and where they shined and where they needed a little polishing. And it kind of, I call it a little bit of a undercover boss at that time. Yeah. And it really helped and kind of just see like where the restaurant stands. I don't like the approach where, what I consider is the old school approach of a new manager comes in, they clean house, they bring in a staff that maybe follows them, maybe that they just or newly hire. And I didn't want that. I wanted something where I can work with the team that I have now to adapt to their abilities, and so that they can adapt to how I run things. And we some of us did butt heads a little bit, and some of us really just found out like, wow, this makes so much more sense to do it this way. And that's how I approach managing. And any new managers, like I now have a new assistant who was one of the very first hires that I hired at Comida. And she started off as a busser. Now she moved her way up herself. She started food running herself. She started hosting herself. And then to me, that's when I find like my star servers to get you onto the floor. And that's how I move people up, is if you take the initiative without me having to say anything, I know that you are committed to this, that you want to make this a career for yourself, and that you found out that this is what I'm going to do as an adult, that this is how we're going to go about this. And it's always been my approach, is not reshaping or bringing in new staff. It's more of working with what you have and then developing new skills from there. And that to me shows so much more than bringing on someone who, let's just say, has a PhD in serving or in bartending. It's, to me, that shows more characteristics and personality for you to connect as a server, a bartender, a manager to our guests.
Well, the good thing too is when you bring in folks that have a lot of experience, or what you may call expertise in the field, or in a certain role, mm-hmm. they have a way of doing things, and they want to do it the way that they have done it, and that doesn't always jive with the way maybe that you do things where you are. I really love that you worked all those positions before officially becoming GM, or before going full throttle into that role, because you've done everything. So you know what it's like to do everything, and you can speak with credibility when you ask people to do something differently, or to do it a different way, or to do better, mm-hmm. or to change, or whatever. You can say that, hey, I've done this. You can empathize genuinely, but you also have the level of experience to say, look, you have some credibility with, we need to do it this way, or probably help you learn a lot, like changes that you may want to make or whatever. I mean, that's such an important role, I think, man. I like your style of leadership, which is not sort of this top down, like my way, the highway, but it's more, hey, I've been there, I've done that. You've got some street cred or whatever you want with the crew, that this isn't just some guy that's like,
it's not some guy that's in here. It's someone who's been in your shoes, who can help you out. And like what you said, is someone who doesn't have that much experience or expertise in the field. I honestly welcome that. Anytime I hire someone and I ask them, or they tell me, well, this is my first job in the restaurant field, I said, that's absolutely fine with me. It makes no difference to me. To me, it's a way to show you how we like to do things here, instead of other restaurants and how they ran things. And it's never backfired on me at all.
Yeah. So take me back, like you were there in New York, and you were doing this internship, and then you went in front of the house and you realized, like, this is what I want to do. Like, what is that? Like, what's the reason I'm asking this question is, I think there's something really magical about hospitality when it's done well, both for the customer and for the person who's giving that hospitality. It's a rewarding profession when you care about hospitality, and when you deliver it with intention and with care. There's a lot of internal personal reward that comes with that, but I don't know that everybody always recognizes that. There's something that clicks. Maybe it did with you in New York, but I'm just curious, what is it about what you do that makes you feel fulfilled and that is rewarding?
To me, it's having my customers not be my customers anymore. And we all call them regulars, but to me, they're more than that. There are people who come in 2 to 3 times a week just to see you. Yep. And I had that in New York. Yeah. When I was only there for a short period of time, but the customers there made an impression on me, and I made an impression on them. And it's just that, like they said, oh, I want him to do my coffee. I want him to make my cakes. And they get to know you on a personal basis. It's a two-way street. Instead of getting to know your guests really, and seeing what, like, oh, well, how's Ed today, and oh, how'd the wedding go, all of that. It's more of them also asking questions about you, because in this field it can be very fast paced, high stress, very high stressful environment. But when a customer takes the time to ask you a question like, oh, well, how's your dog doing? Or um, how's your partner doing? Or when is the wedding? How's wedding planning going? Or when you ask them about their kids, it makes you feel like you're not working anymore. I mean, it makes you feel that you're with them for 3 minutes and you get to check out for those 3 minutes and just say like, I need a breather, I'm taking some time. Or when they see that you're having a hard time, they'll pull you over and they say, just sit with me, or just stand here, make it look like you're working, take a breather, it's fine. And that's what I say is a two-way street. It's not just us doing the work, it's the customers doing the work with you, and they get to know who you are. And to me, that was something that really clicked on what I wanted to do. In a nutrition field, yeah, you may have patients or clients that come see you once every 6 months, once a month, if that. And you don't really get to know them a whole lot. But in the front of the house, what I see is we have so many of our regulars come in, and they specifically want to sit at the bar when a specific bartender is there. They want to be sat in a section with someone who they knows their allergies, their kids' allergies, how they like things. Or they just want to sit down because they order the exact same thing every time that they're with us, with that same server. And like, no, they're fine. Like, we got it. Or you just know when they're having a bad day and like, they just want to be out of the house. I'm letting them be. They'll come get me if they actually need me. But it's seeing them more on a consistent basis. And to me, it's like you really get excited to see them. Yeah. I have a couple that actually come in who, one is in the medical field and one is a first responder. And I didn't really see them throughout the whole pandemic. And they recently just came in. I knew that they were getting married, and it was very exciting to see them. I didn't recognize them at first. I saw some guy just weirdly waving at me, and then I finally realized who it was, and like a very giddy up like person. It's like, oh my God, but I had customers behind me I was taking to a table. It's like, all right, I'm gonna go drop them off and then run back into the restaurant and just like give them the biggest bear hug ever. I'm like, where have you guys been? Did you guys get married? I know that you guys were, I know the first house fell through, but are we getting to, like, did you guys move in? And all of that. It was really fun. And you get to then meet with them outside of work if you invite them to some events. It's really, that to me is the most fulfilling thing, is when you get to make your customers your friends on a professional level, but you still get to know them.
Relationships. Yeah.
Yes.
That's why hospitality never goes away. I mean, who knows, through COVID, there's things change and people have to adjust their business models and all that. But like what y'all do is just, it's here to stay. It's always been here. It'll always be here, because as much as like the, quick service chains and so forth automate and become more, screen oriented and, use AI and use robots and whatever else, man, what you just said is, it's about relationships, and that's for you and that's for the customers. And those are important aspects of our lives. And we're always looking for that. It's why continuity of staff is so, like, it's amazing that you've had those folks there so long. And it's such an important part of what y'all do. I'm quite sure of it, because those relationships to those regulars that come in there often, they're really, like you said, they're there. Obviously, the food has to hit and the ambience and all that kind of stuff, but you know, the staff's turning over all the time and the crew's different all the time. They don't have that level of connectedness that they do when you know you're able to maintain the same people in the same relationship. So I tip my hat that you've been able to keep people that long, and you know, no surprise that Comida's does well because of that, and that's yeah, very commendable. It's such a huge part of what y'all do. Do you like the folks that've been with your team for 5 years now? Um, are they hospitality lifers? Do you think?
I believe so. I mean, I have one who used to work in a hotel, and it was mainly just front desk agent, overnight, night auditor. And she, while I didn't hire her, she was there. And yes, her and I have butted heads. I believe that she is one of our most valued employees. And she definitely has made this a career. When I first started, she was just support staff as just a busser, host, and food runner. But again, seeing that initiative and that twinkle in her eye, that what is that term? The strive to live or something like that, something along those lines, where she wanted to do more. I'm like, okay, let's get you serving. All right. And then when we saw that and we needed bartenders at a certain point of time, we're like, all right, let's get you behind the bar and see where things go. And now she can do it all. She can do it all that same way. It's the same with my new assistant now, who was just hired as a busser when she was 16. And she's made her way up all the way. Just next thing you know, she's gonna take my job. But that's where we're at. I do think that there are a handful of my staff who are now just lifers in the restaurant field, in hospitality, because it's something that they do, that they're good at, that they try to do other things. I have a bartender right now who was going to become a pet groomer, and she didn't like it. She's like, she was doing a little bit of both. She says, I just still want to be in the restaurant field. So she was just my bar prep for one day a week, and then she decided to step away from grooming and come to us full time.
Nice. Yeah. Sounds like you're. It's about time for a walk, huh?
Yeah. I mean, they're totally fine. I mean, if you can hear him, he's a lot.
That's
he could hear you right now. That's why he's like, there's someone in here.
There's somebody. Yeah, that's right. Well, I got one more question for you then. So, you work for an owner who, as I mentioned, I have a lot of respect for Raymond. I've met her and been to her house, seen where she sleeps out on her porch. What's it like to work for an owner like Raymond?
It's really great, honestly. And every owner who I've worked for has always been real. Raimi is 100% real. She's not going to sugarcoat it. I don't sugarcoat things at all, and she'll tell you as it is.
Yeah.
And I 100% respect that. I'm like, no, this is what we're doing. And it became just more of like a partnership with her, that she trusts me with her baby to run the restaurant. And it's really honoring in a way that I get to really work for her in that sense, because it may take some time for like me to pitch an idea to go through, but it eventually gets through. Like switching over our POS system, like, this is what we're gonna do. I think this will work better. And menu changes. She says to the staff, well, Patrick's the boss, go ask him. Meanwhile, everyone knows who she is. Like, it's really your say, it's your restaurant. Like, no, he's the boss. You can go ask him what he wants.
That's awesome.
There's certain things that I do in the restaurant that she'll ask me for permission for. I'm like, can you please do this? And I said, I mean, sure, it's your restaurant, but you're the boss. So I'm like, yes, I am the boss, but it's humbling. It's very humbling. And I sometimes joke around with the staff when people ask me, like, well, how long have you been here? Or when my guests ask me, like, well, how long have you been here for, if I just met them? Um, and I tell them, or how did you even get this job? Because I didn't apply for this job. Raimi found me. And I tell people, like, Raimi's kind of like my savior, my guardian angel,
Yeah.
from a dental office I was in. But she reached out to me, and I met her when the restaurant was probably 2.5 months into opening. And I just felt that there was something there that made me say, like, I can work for you.
Yeah.
Because
did you know her before?
No.
Okay.
I knew her husband before I knew her.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that was it. That's because his company was I bought from his company at my other restaurant.
Tender Belly,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I bought from Tender Belly. So, and when it didn't click in my head when she told me that she was married to Eric, who owns Tender Belly. It didn't click in my head. I was like, oh, okay. That's cool. I know the name. And then when I first met him, I looked at him and I said, I know you. Like, I know exactly who you are. I used to come pick up my orders, and you had like some big guard dog in front of me that would always bark, but like be the sweetest thing. He's like, oh yeah, that's my brother's dog, or something, or like the office dog. Like, I know who you are. And really, like, it's a small world. It is a small world of people who you get to know. So when she told me that she knows this person, I'm like, oh yeah, I know them too, from not from like other restaurants, but just common friends. She's like, yeah, I know who that is. So it's a small world, and I found it very funny that I knew her husband before I knew her.
Well, I can attest that she is real. I mean, 100% what you get with Raymond, very authentic, and just a fun person who cares a lot about you and your team and your restaurant and your customers. And well, look, man, I appreciate you taking the time to do this very much. Enjoyed it quite a bit, and we're really trying to share stories of people like you that have just said, you know what, I love hospitality. It's a career. It's something I'm going to do the rest of my life. And I think there's probably a lot of people that out there that may not have thought of hospitality as something that, I mean, like, you didn't initially either, but there are so many great people. We've been doing this 14 years now, and I've come across so many just amazing people that are so good at what they do and love what they do. And I think people have started to realize a little bit more over the last 18 months or so with COVID, where you may have taken good hospitality for granted prior. The more we go to places now and don't get it at certain places, and you start to go, gosh, like, I mean, we were literally just driving to I took my kids to a Foo Fighters show in Atlanta on last Friday night. We're in Charlotte. It's like a 4-hour drive, and it was like a lot of traffic. It was taking forever, and we were like, okay, we're hungry. Let's just roll into McDonald's. Just get something quick, right? And to eat in the car. Took 30 minutes. Like, things have changed. Like, it's just like, and it wasn't even that surprising. But McDonald's didn't have anybody working there, so it just took forever to get just some plain cheeseburgers. So then you start to go, gosh, boy, do I miss, good hospitality. Boy, do I miss, just feeling like I'm well taken care of, and that the staff is attentive to my needs. So what y'all do becomes more and more meaningful and valuable, and people are reassessing so much, over the last 18 months. And our hope is that, a lot of folks will start to say, this is something I can, and you're making better money now. I mean, people are paying more to, restaurants are paying more now, so you can make maybe better money than you could and do something that where you're around people that have intention and care, and that's about more than just sitting at a desk all day, and
I think it's more for me.
Build relationships.
Yeah. For me, it's more of breaking down the stereotype and of what a restaurant is, and how you have the main manager and the servers are just there, like, who are in college just to get by or to make money. To me, it's again a career, and to my staff, it's their profession of what they do. And I think for others who aren't in this industry, for them to now finally realize, like, okay, I get really great service here. They know what I want. Let's just go there. They'll take care of us. That is something that I think people are now coming to see that we offer.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there are times. I mean, we're kind of in a weird, slow period until the holidays come around, and my staff knows. Like, no, I mean, they're not going to be making as much, but for them, it's not always about the money. For them, it's just about like getting out of the house, trying new things at work, or how they can better improve themselves right now as like a training period to reevaluate how they serve their tables and really get on point once the holiday seasons come around, because then they know, like, all right, I know we're going to get like packed busy again, and this is what I need to do to shine. Yeah. So for them right now, we're taking this as a training period of some sort to really just polish before the holidays come around.
Love it, man. That's a good way to use the time. Tell everybody I said hello. I appreciate this very much. If you ever need anything, you know where we're at, my friend. But really enjoyed it. Really appreciate you taking the time, Patrick. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Thank you.
Later.